Andy grew up in a small, run-down village in northern Nigeria, with parents who struggled to make ends meet. He had always been intelligent, topping his classes, but poverty left him grappling with limited resources. When he gained admission to study banking and finance at the University of Abuja, he saw it as an opportunity to rise above his circumstances. However, life in the university was far from easy. While others enjoyed luxuries, Andy often went hungry or borrowed textbooks to keep up with his studies. Rita, on the other hand, came from an affluent family. Her father was a prominent businessman, and she was used to the comforts of wealth. Despite their differences, Rita noticed Andy's brilliance and the struggles he faced. One day, after a lecture, she approached him and offered to share her notes. From that small gesture, their friendship blossomed. Rita admired Andy's determination, and Andy appreciated her generosity. When Andy faced a major financial setback that threatened his graduation, Rita went out of her way to help him. She contacted her elder brother Jerry and explained Andy's plight. Touched by the story, Jerry provided Rita with a substantial amount of money, which she handed over to Andy. Grateful and determined to repay the kindness, Andy worked hard and graduated at the top of his class. Upon completing his National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Andy secured a job at one of Nigeria's top banks. His rise in the banking industry was meteoric, and soon he became a celebrated top banker. As he gained wealth and status, he proposed to Rita, promising her a lifetime of happiness. Rita, believing in Andy's love and sincerity, accepted. They married in an extravagant ceremony and went on to have 3 beautiful children. After the birth of their 3rd child, Andy insisted that Rita reduce her working hours to focus on the family. He assured her that he would provide for all their needs. Rita reluctantly agreed, sacrificing her career ambitions for the sake of their children. However, Andy's true nature began to surface. Despite his earlier promises, Andy grew jealous of the attention Rita received from other men. Her beauty and grace made her the center of admiration, even after childbirth. His jealousy turned into control. He forbade her from attending social gatherings, limited her interactions, and constantly accused her of infidelity. Yet, while Andy demanded loyalty, he indulged in affairs with younger women, including his female staff. Andy became reckless with his wealth, showering his mistresses with expensive gifts while cutting down on household expenses. When Rita confronted him about the financial strain, he dismissed her concerns, often lying about his lack of funds. One night, while Rita struggled to buy groceries, Andy bought a luxurious car for a mistress, claiming it was a reward for her loyalty. Rita endured the humiliation quietly until her brother, Jerry, intervened. Outraged by Andy's treatment of his sister, Jerry handed Rita one of his flourishing businesses to manage. With her intelligence and hard work, Rita turned the business into a massive success, gradually reclaiming her independence. Meanwhile, Andy's mismanagement and unethical practices at the bank caught up with him. He was accused of embezzlement, leading to his suspension and eventual dismissal. His accounts were frozen, and he found himself penniless. To make matters worse, the mistresses who once flocked around him disappeared the moment his wealth vanished. Abandoned and humiliated, Andy returned home, only to find that Rita had become the family's breadwinner. He begged for forgiveness, promising to change, but Rita was no longer the submissive wife he once controlled. She allowed him to stay, not out of love, but for the sake of their children. Andy was reduced to performing domestic chores, a stark contrast to his former life of luxury. While Rita's business empire flourished, Andy struggled with his new reality. His friends avoided him, and his once glamorous life became a distant memory. Rita, now a powerful and respected businesswoman, ensured her children received the best education and upbringing. Despite her immense wealth, she never flaunted it in front of Andy, choosing instead to teach her children the values of humility and hard work. Rita's success grew exponentially as she expanded her business empire, becoming one of the most respected entrepreneurs in Nigeria. Her wealth allowed her to provide her children with the best education, luxurious living conditions, and a stable environment. However, as much as she tried to shield her children from the scars of their father's betrayal, they still longed for a relationship with Andy. Andy's presence in the home was a shadow of his former self. Once a proud and confident man, he was now subdued and apologetic. He spent his days doing house chores, playing with the children, and avoiding Rita's sharp glares. Though she allowed him to stay, Rita had made it clear that she could never trust him again. One evening, as Rita returned from a business meeting, she found her eldest son, Daniel, waiting for her in the living room. At 16, Daniel had grown into a mature and thoughtful young man. "Mom," he began, his voice steady but imploring, "we know Dad made terrible mistakes, but he's still our father. Can't you give him another chance?" Rita hesitated, her heart torn. She had endured years of Andy's lies and betrayal, and the wounds were still fresh. Yet she couldn't ignore the pleading in her children's eyes. Her daughter Maya, who had always been closest to Andy, joined the conversation. "Mom, Dad's changed. He's trying. He cooks for us, helps with homework, and even prays with us at night. We miss having you both together as a family." For days, Rita wrestled with her emotions. She confided in Jerry, her brother, who had always been her pillar of support. "I don't want to be foolish again, Jerry," she admitted. "What if he hurts me like before?" Jerry placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Rita, you've built an incredible life for yourself and your kids. Helping Andy doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong enough to choose forgiveness, but only if you truly want to." Rita decided to test Andy's sincerity. She called him to the living room one evening, sitting across from him with an unreadable expression. "Andy," she began, "the children want me to help you get back on your feet. I'm willing to try, but on my terms." Andy, who had braced himself for another scolding, looked up in surprise. "I'll give you a job managing one of my smaller ventures. It's a chance to prove yourself, not to me, but to our children. Don't squander it." Andy was overwhelmed with gratitude. "Thank you, Rita. I won't let you down again." True to his word, he poured himself into the work, treating the business as if it were his own. Slowly, he began to regain his confidence and earn the respect of the staff. His humility and dedication impressed Rita, though she remained cautious. Over time, the children's happiness brought a sense of peace to the household. While Rita and Andy's relationship remained distant, they found a way to coexist for the sake of their family. Andy's journey to redemption was far from over, but Rita's decision to extend a hand of forgiveness marked the beginning of healing for them all. Andy learned the hard way that wealth and power were fleeting, but trust and respect were priceless. Humbled by poverty and regret, he spent his days reflecting on his past mistakes, hoping to rebuild his broken relationships. Rita, though scarred by years of betrayal, found strength in her resilience and vowed never to let anyone dim her light again.